Hello, Dr. Grande here. I'm here with my wife, Amy.
Hi.
My wife and I took a vacation to Mexico and to the Caribbean on Disney's Dream. And in this video, we'll be talking all about that vacation, that trip.
Yep.
So just by way of background, this is cruise number 7.
7.
And this is our 3rd time on Disney Dream. That's the ship that we were on.
Yep.
It was the first ship we were on.
It was our 1st, our 4th, and now our 7th. And it will be 9 when we get to that point.
Yeah, we have a few cruises planned in the future, so we'll be back on that boat.
I feel like it's our home ship because it was our first.
Yeah, I'm pretty comfortable on that ship.
Yeah.
In the last cruise video, we covered Magic,
Right.
which was a much smaller ship. And I think it might have been the first ship.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was a lot smaller, and it was a real adjustment.
Yeah.
So going back to Dream felt like a big...
Dream.
Yeah, it felt like a kind of a real boat again.
Yeah.
Magic was okay, though.
Yeah, I would go on Magic again if it had an itinerary that we wanted. I wanted to go on it because I wanted to go on all of them. And I feel like if it was our first ship, it wouldn't have been such a shock. But because we've been on the bigger ships, it was a little bit of a shock to go to a smaller ship.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't quite as bad as like a life raft or whatever, but it was noticeably smaller.
Yeah.
Right when you walked in.
Yeah, the atrium definitely is smaller.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so we have a lot of images and videos that we took on the vacation, not just on the boat, but in other places that we visited. This was a 5-day cruise starting in Fort Lauderdale, and then it went to Cozumel, Mexico, which is an island, and then to another island in the Caribbean, Castaway Cay.
Right, Disney's private island.
Right, which is part of the Bahamas, and Disney leases it, and they have control over it. So we had some interesting experiences there too. All right, so we'll get started here. So, as always, the trip for us when we're sailing out of Florida, which has been every time except for one.
Right.
We went out of Manhattan one time, and Disney has not been back.
No, not yet. We're really hoping for another one out of New York.
Yeah, Manhattan may seem like, oh, why would I want to sail out of Manhattan when I go to Florida? But actually, Manhattan's much easier because we live in Delaware.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so it's like 2.5-hour drive. The parking's pricier than Florida.
Right.
But that's it. Other than that, it's...
Right. We don't have to fly. We don't have to drive. We don't have to pay for a rental car. We don't have to pay for a motel. None of that. We could leave the same day and be back the day we got off the ship.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm a big fan of the Manhattan Cruise Terminal.
I'd be okay with Baltimore, too. Anything within a couple hours drive would be fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, Disney seems very committed to Florida, though.
Yeah.
For, I suppose, obvious reasons. But so either way, we always start by going the day before.
Right.
We travel to Florida the day before. Some people don't. Some people just fly in directly on the day that the cruise leaves.
Disney always recommends not doing that.
No.
If your flight is canceled or delayed, you're going to miss the boat.
Yeah, you'd be in some trouble. Yeah, that'd be tough.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have the option of driving and making it because it's a 15-hour, actually longer than that, to Fort Lauderdale.
Right.
For us. All right, so we stayed in a different hotel this time, right? It was okay.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember, I think was it from the airport to the hotel, we took a taxi. Sometimes we take a taxi, sometimes we take an Uber. This time we took a taxi, and I think it was like a Prius, and the shock absorbers were completely gone. Completely gone. Like, I just picture if they removed them, like I've removed shock absorbers before they're on really old vehicles, and you can just do this with your hands. Like there's no, it's like nothing.
And I didn't notice it until you said that. And then I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, one time we bought an old pickup truck. I think it was it a Chevy S10?
Yeah.
And all 4 shocks were gone.
Yeah,
and it was just
bad.
yeah, it was horrible. I had to go under there and with a reciprocating saw and like cut them out because they wouldn't come unbolted. Some of them wouldn't come unbolted. It was terrible. So that's what this Prius was like. Really, really kind of scary a little bit, but yeah, he got us there.
Yeah, we got there.
So the next day, I'm trying to remember, we took an Uber to get to the port.
Yes, I scheduled an Uber from the motel to the port.
Went okay. We got to the port. So here we are coming in to the port. You can see Dream. Where is that picture?
That's in the terminal.
That's in the terminal. Okay.
Once we've gotten through security and
So here we
waiting
are
to be called.
walking over to the ship.
Yep.
Right. You see the reflection on the glass. Pretty impressive when you're right next to it.
It's always exciting because you see the ship as you're driving in, and the closer you get, you're like, oh, I'm gonna get to go on a cruise. I'm gonna get to go on a cruise. So that walk to get into the ship is always, for me anyway, I always feel like a little kid. I'm like, oh, I'm going on a ship.
Yeah, it's a fun time. It's a good time on the cruise. And there's like a guy, I think we've seen the same guy multiple times, that says he's wearing like these oversized Mickey Mouse hands, like these white hands, and he says, make some noise.
Yeah. Probably a good 10 minutes that you're in that area and you can hear him.
Yeah.
And he just keeps doing it over and over. And I'm like, that's got to be a horrible job. He's got to be hoarse by the end.
I can't imagine that's a fun job. Well, also, I really don't like noise. I feel like we have too much noise in society. So we don't really need to make any more noise.
No, he's just trying to get everybody excited, but still.
They're probably
we're
already
all
excited. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So here's a picture of the fuel barge. I don't know why I like these things, but there's the fuel barge alongside Dream with a tug behind it. We also saw Dream fueling when we were in Manhattan.
Right.
I think that might be the only 2 times we've seen the ship fuel when we've been on them.
I don't remember.
My understanding is the ship does not fuel every time it's in port. It's only every so often.
Yeah.
Every few times. I guess it's got a lot of capacity. So we used to go to Cabanas on deck 11. So we get on board the ship and go up to 11 and fight the crowd to eat.
Right.
Usually it's not too bad because not everybody's on yet.
Yeah, we try to get, especially now that we're gold, we get to choose our port arrival time a little sooner than silver and first-time cruisers. And so we tend to get the earlier arrival time. So yeah, the ship is not super crowded when we get on it. But we didn't know any better the first time. So, and they kind of shuffle you.
Right.
Go to Cabanas and have lunch, which is fine. I mean, it's all the same food. It's good food. But we didn't know. And now we've discovered that they always have one restaurant open for anybody that wants to go sit there. So as long as it's not full, you can go sit there for lunch.
And I'll say this time, when we got in there was a ton of room left.
Yeah.
And even when we left, there still had space left.
Right.
So it was not, we had to wait, I think, just a couple of minutes or something. I don't even know why. There was plenty of seats.
Right.
But then there was no problem. This is Animator's Palette, the restaurant we were in. That was the one that was open for lunch. I don't remember what we had for lunch there.
Chicken Caesar salad.
Oh, that's right. Chicken Caesar salad. We had the same thing?
Yes, we both had it. Did we get the soup? We love the leek and potato soup.
Yeah, I think we did. Yeah, I think we got that. That was pretty good. So then after this point, I think by the time we were done with the restaurant, the rooms were open.
Right.
And it's always a good idea to go to the room, get settled in. This time was, I think, the first time that we were in a smaller room.
Right.
So usually we get a veranda room that has like a little space kind of at the end, like extra space.
Yeah, it's a family veranda that sleeps 5. And this time I booked the regular veranda, which only sleeps 3. Just because
A little more affordable.
Yeah, it's a little cheaper, and I kind of wanted to see if it was doable, if we would really miss the extra space.
Yeah.
And
A few times.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, a little bit, but not. I mean, it wasn't so bad that I wouldn't do it again. It's just nicer to have a little bit of extra space.
Yeah. I think it was most noticeable when we were changing.
Yeah, yeah, because there was in the family veranda, there's an extra chair.
Right.
And we didn't have that, so we were both kind of fighting over the same couch space.
Right, small couch. And then I think the first night, the couch was turned into a bed. I guess it was a communication error.
We didn't see our room steward for the first, I don't think we saw him till the third night.
Yeah, which is unusual.
Right.
Yeah.
And I kept talking to this woman who I thought was our room steward because she was delivering luggage. And so I thought she was our person. She was in the hall.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was making friends and talking to her. And the third night, this guy shows up and he's like, Amy, Todd, how are you? And I'm like, who is this? He was our guy. So.
They're all too polite to tell you, like, hey, this isn't my zone or whatever this is my area. You got another person. Like, they'll never tell you that.
Yeah.
They just kind of go along. So here's the stuff we had waiting for us, a couple bags. Yeah, so the screen and the TV's on when you come in. And so this time, we flew. This time we had like 2 personal items and 2 carry-ons. And they were packed to the maximum. Like I was shoving stuff, like my shoes, my spare shoes.
Yeah.
And I only carry just the sneakers I'm wearing and 1 spare pair.
Right.
That's all I carry.
But then we got there. So for a 5-night cruise, we take 10 outfits because we always change for dinner. And many of you know, I coordinate our clothes. So I spend weeks before the cruise hanging things together and put them. We have a walk-in closet in our bedroom, and I have one wall that I hang outfits. As I decide what goes with what, I hang those in our closet. And then the night before we leave, I start packing because I don't want to pack it too early. I don't want everything wrinkled because I don't want to spend my vacation doing ironing and whatnot. So that's all our clothes for 5 nights. That's all our dress clothes. There's a couple of casual clothes in there too for 5 nights. So 10 outfits packed in 2 carry-on and personal bags on the flight. That's not the worst I've ever had it, but
yeah, it's a lot. Like
it is a lot.
I feel like when we first open them, like they explode from the pressure from.
Well, it doesn't help that we always take sweatshirts because we never know if it's going to be cold, rainy, up on deck, especially in the evening because you're on the ocean, so it gets a little chilly. But we don't always need a coat when we leave here. Like it was warm when we left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we're not. Well, I always wear my sweatshirt because I'm always cold. But you pack yours, which takes up a lot of space, but then we came home and we were freezing because it was really cold here when we came home, and your sweatshirt was packed because it was hot when we left.
It's hard to win with that.
Yeah.
This is before. I'm trying to think when we took this. Oh, this was before we left.
Yeah, that was as we were getting
as we were
ready.
leaving. Yeah.
Yeah. The terminal.
Yeah. Here's the terminal. This is what it looks like. We were on starboard this time.
Yeah, we've been on starboard once before. We typically book port side. I don't know why I booked I know I booked starboard. Because we back into Castaway Key.
Okay.
And it's a better view.
Right. When you're starboard.
Yeah. So, but I kind of like being port because you can watch all the action going on too.
Like the towel recovery dash one time, yeah. There all the towels coming back in. It was like a huge process. All these workers fighting these towels, trying to get them back onto the ship.
Yeah.
So muster drill, I won't spend a long time muster drill. I think I complained about it pretty thoroughly last time, but it's just, the safety thing, and it's really repetitive when you've been on more than one cruise.
Yeah, and because we go often, it feels even more so.
Yeah.
So but this time I got it right.
Yeah. So the trick is to have a room. I mean, if you really don't like muster drill, to have a room where you can sit down for it instead of going to deck 4. A lot of people have to go to deck 4 and stand outside in the heat.
Right.
And it's really miserable. And you're like stacked like 5, 6 deep and all this stuff. It's kind of ridiculous. But this time we were so far forward that we ended up in the Disney Theater along with, I think, like 4 other groups from other forward sections.
Maybe because we were sitting down and not counting the seconds until it was over because we were sweating and crammed in. It just didn't seem
as long this time.
As long, yeah.
Yeah, so it was bearable. Inside, they can keep talking, doing their thing. Okay. I've always said that if anything ever happens on the ship, it's going to be pandemonium.
It will.
Right? They can't expect people to be like remembering their area and like going, like you have to go to your room and get like clothing and medicine. No one's going to remember any of that.
No, and especially if you've never cruised before, it's so easy to get turned around on that ship. You're not going to remember. No. You're not going to remember where you have to be or what you have to do or how to get anywhere, especially if you're in a panic.
So then we went to Deck 11. Deck 11 has not only cabanas, which is open in the morning and then midday, but a bunch of other restaurants that are open a little later. And it looks like a hamburger.
Yeah, you got a cheeseburger and fries, even though we just had lunch.
Right.
Well, yes, it was a couple. Right. It was there was a few hours in between there, but
it's very easy to find yourself eating on the ship.
It is really easy. It's available all the time, and you could eat 5 or 6 small meals a day anyway. Where I can't do that. I do, but I can't do that. On a regular basis, I do not eat like that.
Yeah, but it's vacation, so...
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So here we are. I think this is when we were pulling away. This is the terminal at Fort Lauderdale. People waving and such. Beautiful houses there.
I want to live right there.
Yeah, incredible.
Watch the ships leave every day.
I would think that it would be a pretty good experience initially, but then I wonder if it might get a little old.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, they're certainly valuable homes.
But people sit out there and wave.
Yeah.
So
every time. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if they're miserable or not.
Yeah. Well, I would just think like enough with the ships already. Like if you've been living there, it's like all right, I get it.
Yeah, but you kind of know that when you move there. What do ship hair, cruise hair don't care? What is that?
So here's kind of night descending on the ocean. So we were going out here for a day at sea because it takes a while to get to Cozumel, Mexico.
Right.
So there's a sea day to start things off. And just kind of hanging around the ship, walking around, seeing what there is to see. Yeah, so this is this experience here for our first dinner. Something unusual happened. And we've kind of been debating about how much we're going to talk about it.
Right.
It's a very unusual circumstance. So just kind of like a little bit of background for the dining. Again, we're second dining, and it's a rotation system. And there's Royal Palace, Animator's Palette, and Enchanted Garden.
Right. And the app tells you which restaurant on which night and your table number. You keep the same table number for every restaurant.
And the same crew.
And your service crew goes with you to each of those restaurants so that they get to know you. They know your wants, they know your likes and dislikes and all that sort of thing. And they really kind of become like family over those 4 or 5 nights or however long you're on the ship. And we always ask for a private table. Disney doesn't guarantee that they'll give us a private table, but if they're able to, they will grant that. And out of 7 cruises, well, the first one we were with all the kids. So out of 6 cruises, 3 of those times we've had a private table, and 3 of those times we have not. And this was one of those times we have not.
Right.
On the 2 that we have prior, we had a blast with our table mates. We've kept in touch with them. We've become Facebook friends. We've talked about cruising together again. We've had a great time with everybody that we've met.
Yeah. So there was the sense that our luck was about to run out with this cruise. So, I mean, look, I've worked with all kinds of people over the years. I can get along with just about anybody. And I understand there's a wide range of human behavior, even on a cruise ship. But the people, really one person, who sat down, one of the people at our table.
The last person to sit
The very last person. Like so, we sat down the end. You can see here, on the end of was it 32? I forget the table number.
Yeah, it was table 32, and it was an 8 top.
Right.
The last 2 times we were not at a private table. It was a 6 top. So immediately I thought, oh boy,
right.
Now we have 3 other couples that we have to mesh with. Which, okay,
yeah.
I'm the same way. I
thought
I can pretty much talk to anybody.
Yeah, I thought it'd be fine. So the first 2 couples get in there.
Right.
And they're at I can't remember, were they already there?
No, we got there first because we didn't want to sit in the middle.
Right.
So we got there first. We decided to go early so we didn't have to sit in the middle because we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know until you go to the restaurant if you're by yourself or if you're with other people. So we said, okay, we're going to go early and so we can pick our seat. So we sat on the end because that's where
escape options. You can sit on the end.
That's where we prefer to sit, is on the end. And we sat across from each other.
Mm-hmm.
And couple 2 came in and sat at the opposite end of the table next to each other.
Right. Unusual, I think.
So there's
unusual.
1 seat left next to me and 2 seats or 3 seats next to you.
Right.
So the second couple comes in and they sit at the end of the table next to each other.
Right.
So now there's 1 seat next to me and 1 seat next to you that are empty.
Yes. And that's when a special visitor, so just, to preface, we've always had good experiences.
Always.
With the people and, the restaurant, the dining experience. This was unusual, and I don't really see this repeating. I hope not, but, so we had this, so it was a man and a woman, husband and wife.
On paper,
right.
We were all a really good match.
Yeah.
We were all around the same age, all married long time. On paper, we were a good match.
Yeah, that was the limit of the good match part. But yeah, so the wife sat next to you.
Right.
And the husband.
And was very quiet.
Yep. Yeah. and the husband sat next to me. And right away, I could smell alcohol. Immediately. And I think he said something like he already had 8 drinks.
Yeah, and the guy at the table behind us was in the bar with him, and the 2 of them had become buddies. This was 5 hours after getting on the ship.
Yeah, this was not.
They have become buddies, and that guy sends this guy a drink,
mm-hmm.
and then he orders another drink on top of that.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm going to guess that intoxication was a possibility.
Probably.
Just a possibility here. But yeah, so, and again, even in the realm of people who are intoxicated, I've had a lot of experience interacting with people who are intoxicated. A lot.
Right.
Because of my career history. But this guy was...
he was very extroverted on top of...
Yeah, being loud.
Yeah.
Using expletives.
Yeah.
Being obnoxious.
And he embarrassed his wife.
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain she didn't say much but I'm fairly certain she was embarrassed.
Yeah.
I actually asked her for her address so that I could send her a sympathy card. And he piped right up and like belted out his address.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
Yeah, but you were, of course, joking.
I was, yeah.
Yeah, so, everything that we did, like every way we interacted with our food, facial expressions back and forth, I imagine mine were, probably revealing my unhappiness with the situation.
And you are pretty private and keep to yourself, and you had a problem with your meal, and he leans over and he's like, "What's wrong with it?"
Yeah.
And I thought you were going to punch him right in the face
I'm
at that
nonviolent.
point because
I'm nonviolent. I just
he just stuck his face right in your plate, and I was like, "What are you doing?"
yeah. It wasn't a fun time. And then at one point he had some type of phone call.
Yes.
And he talked as loud as a human being could talk for the entire phone call and was using expletives. And I'm like,
at the table.
At the table, yeah, right in my ear.
Get up and take the phone call out of the room.
Yeah, it was very unusual.
It was.
And right away, I think I gave it maybe like 3 or 4 minutes.
Right.
And I decided at that point, this was not happening. This wasn't happening. So we left. We fulfilled our obligation, and we even stayed longer than the other two couples.
We did. The other two couples left.
We stayed and talked to them, and
still don't know their names.
Don't know their names, but
usually when you sit down at a table that's not private, the first thing you do is, what's your name? Where are you from? How many cruises you been on? And it starts the whole night.
Mm-hmm.
None of us exchange names. None of us.
Yeah. It's okay. It worked out for the best. But yeah, so, we stayed for longer and were polite, as I could be under the circumstances, which was pretty polite.
You were.
Yeah.
You were. You made faces at me, but I don't think anybody else really noticed.
Yeah. Yeah, so we got up and immediately went to guest services. And this started kind of another interesting saga of the trip, one that really surprised me.
It surprised me too. We'll get to that. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, so here we are at 32, table 32, desserts. I always have ice cream. Pretty much always have ice cream. And then some pictures in the atrium that we took.
Yep.
With the duck. And this is on deck 11. I guess we went to guest services a little later now I think about it.
We did.
Yeah, a little later.
Because I feel like the line for guest services is always long.
It's funny, right?
They're there 24 hours, so we just waited until later to go.
Yeah, that was something else we noticed.
Yeah.
And now that I think about it, on every cruise, guest services always has a line.
Always. And I don't know why.
But what do you find to complain about that much?
Right.
But I don't know. I guess people have various problems.
I was going to say, there are multiple issues that you would go to guest services for. Booking, reservation, just all kinds of stuff. And we found out that they will change bills for you too. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
We had some cash and we needed smaller bills, and they'll do that for you too.
For tips.
Right.
When we were,
right.
Yeah, so we explored the ship, looked around. Here's guest services, right? So late that night.
Right.
We went to guest services on deck 3. The line was empty. It's the first time in the whole night it was empty. So there you are trying to explain.
Complaining.
Yeah, and one thing I've always said about being on Disney ships that I think is both good and bad. It's an observation I made before. I don't know if I talked about it in the first video, but we've talked about this.
Right.
There is I don't want to call it a toxic positivity, but there's a real commitment to never saying anything negative.
Right.
Like the example with the room steward.
Right.
Like
she would never correct me and tell me I'm not your person.
Yeah, you talked to her the entire cruise.
I really liked her.
And she never said, I like talking to you.
Right.
But I'm not even responsible for cleaning your room.
Right.
And through small talk, you're kind of keeping her from,
Right.
you know, which I don't think we feel bad about when they're cleaning our room,
Right.
you know, because we're not going to complain about them anyway. But she had other rooms to clean. And she has to, you know, she was probably like, seriously, you people again? Like,
yeah, she probably did. Why does this woman keep talking to me?
So yeah, there's like a positivity, and I thought it was really just like the culture, like it was okay. We're always going to be positive no matter what, and I never thought it was about a lack of understanding.
Right.
I always thought it was just we have a commitment to be kind of nauseatingly positive,
Right.
and maybe a little bit unrealistic. That's our commitment, but in our private lives, you know, we're not on the ship. We can be normal, but apparently. That is not how it works. We tried to explain, well, you tried to explain, the whole idea that we wanted to be in a different rotation.
Right.
Because we didn't want to see the drunk guy.
Right.
Again.
I asked them to, while explaining that it was not our service people at all.
Right.
It was
just
another guest
right.
that we had an issue with. We wanted to change our restaurant rotation because moving us to another, because they kept hearing, you asked for a private table.
Right, and you didn't
we
get
want
one,
to put
so
you at a
now-
private
right,
table.
Yeah.
And I wasn't complaining about not being at a private table. I just didn't want to sit with this person anymore. And they weren't understanding
No.
that
No.
part.
I was
they
really surprised by
heard
that.
private table, and that's where
Right.
almost like they stopped listening after that. She wants a private table. So the first change they made, so they moved us from table 32 to table 34. And I thought, that isn't going to work because he's going to see us and he's going to be right up. Hey, mate, what are you doing over here? You're supposed to be sitting with us tonight.
Yeah, what happened? Don't you like me?
Right.
Is it because I'm intoxicated and
Yeah.
the loudest person you've ever been next to ever
And
in your
the whole
life?
restaurant would know. So they put us at a private table, and we had a fabulous server and
Yeah, it worked out. It
team,
worked out.
and yeah, it was
Yeah, again,
it was good.
one time out of 7 cruises.
Right. Right.
Yeah, and this was really, I mean, I can't really overstate, like,
And that is not Disney's fault
No.
at all. Like I said, on paper, we were all a really good match.
yeah. I can't overstate how incredibly loud. Like,
He was.
I have, you know, hearing problems. I
Right.
have trouble hearing. I have
Right.
hearing aids. And my ear was ringing extra loud from, like, it was like going to a concert and being right next to the speaker. Like, it was
Right.
ridiculous.
Right.
I didn't know vocal cords could sustain that much noise, could make that
Right.
much noise. Like, it was almost like superhuman. It really was. Like, I remember thinking, like, I don't know if anyone's ever spoken this loudly to me for this long in my entire life without, like, electronic assistance.
Right.
You know, like a megaphone.
Right.
Yeah, so I was like, you know, I couldn't hear, well, I could hear him because he was talking so loudly, but I couldn't hear other people because it was bad. Yeah. You know, there's certain things I'm just not going to tolerate.
Right.
You know, but I'll tolerate a lot, but that was crazy. So anyway, we got that fixed eventually over the course, you know, like by the next night. And here we are going around the ship again at the atrium. You know, really, I think just a beautiful area of the ship.
It is.
And an
It
area
really
you keep
is.
coming back to.
They
and,
do it right.
Yeah.
You can see the hidden Mickeys there. There's just so much detail. Disney doesn't do anything halfway, including their ships.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so much detail, and it's just beautiful.
Yeah, this is the entrance to Enchanted Garden, which is my favorite restaurant.
Yeah.
It's quiet.
Yeah.
It's a quiet restaurant. And it's really ornate and you know, it's beautiful inside.
Yeah.
The aesthetic is excellent. Not like, I feel like some of the other ones are a little gimmicky,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, a
like
little
Marvel
bit. Right. Yeah.
on Wish, whatever it's called, the Marvel restaurant. And
Right.
I like Animator's Palette, but then they have that turtle. And then this is along the theater on 5, right?
Yeah.
This might be 5.
And the smell of popcorn. It always smells so good, but I never eat any.
Yeah, I think you can get into I think it's the Buena Vista Theater.
Yes.
And you can get in on, I think it's 4 or 5.
Right.
You can enter. Now this theater, this is the one in the forward area, the Walt Disney Theater. This is also 2 levels, but it's 3 and 4.
Right.
4 is the balcony. And it's sometimes used as a regular movie theater.
Right.
And sometimes for shows. So here's what our deck, we're on deck 9. This is what it looks like. Just enough room for 2 people to squeeze by each other. I feel like the carpet might be newer since...
I think they changed out the carpet while it was in dry dock because it definitely felt a lot thicker
right.
this time.
We were sinking into it. And I noticed even more so in other places.
Yeah.
Like it was really soft.
Yeah.
So one of the things I really like about Dream, as opposed to the Triton class, which is like Wish and Treasure, and then I guess Destiny coming up, is that deck 4 goes all the way around. It does on Magic and Wonder too, but on Dream and Fantasy, it's really the best.
Yeah.
It's wide. It goes all the way around. You can walk. Usually, it's all open. You can walk all the way around and like get exercise and get to see the ship and
yet
the view.
You didn't go walk. I mean, we walked it here, but we didn't.
Yeah, we ended up with like 10,000 steps on 2 days.
Right.
And then I think 7 or 8.
I logged 8.
Yeah.
On 2 days and 10 on 2, or maybe 7 on the other.
Yeah, no trouble getting our steps this time.
No.
But anyway, it's one of my favorite parts of the ship, and it's really unusable on Wish and the other newer ships. You can only really go up one side, and then you have to go the other side. Like it's really not. It was. I think they really destroyed that great feature.
A lot of people have complained about that because a lot of people do go out and either run or walk, like jog in the morning or whatever to get their day started. Now they have treadmills and whatnot on the ship, but who wants to do that when you can be on the deck and walk around?
Yeah, is it a great idea to have a ship where food is handed to you every couple of seconds and then not have a way to walk around the deck? Like, does that make any sense?
I know.
I just, a lot of the decisions that they make, I think, make sense. I get it. But that one with the design change is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's unforgivable. I just don't like it. Just, and then to make more ships with the same flaw.
Right.
It's just one of the few areas where I really am not happy with the ship design, but not a problem on Dream.
Right.
And Fantasy. Here we are with Spider-Man. Spider-Man. Who?
Yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed talking to him. He could talk and interact, which is kind of nice.
Right. Yeah. The other, like Mickey and all them can't.
Right.
Yeah.
He commented on your glasses and the fact that I didn't have any on, and I said mine are in my eyes, and he was like, "Oh, I like that technology." That was fun.
So here we are with what is this?
This was lunch when I complained about
this
dinner.
Okay.
So you got a burger, and I had halibut.
Oh, okay.
Which I'm not normally adventurous, especially with seafood, but our table mate talked about halibut.
Got you in the mood for halibut.
And I thought, well, he recommended it, so let me try it. And it was good. I don't know that I would get it again. For me, it just, but it was good, and everything else in the bowl kind of helped.
Yeah, so, try something new. We don't have it here. So,
yeah.
But I don't eat seafood, so just a burger's fine for me.
Yeah.
This is napkin folding?
Yes. I enjoy all of the free activities that they have. Not necessarily because they're free, but I just enjoy them. So we've done towel folding, animation classes, napkin folding. I've done napkin folding, but you didn't go with me that time. That was on Wish, I believe. And so I said, come on, we're gonna do a napkin folding. So that was our attempt at making a rose. That was not a very good instructor. It was very hard to follow.
Yeah, you couldn't, the way the camera was positioned, they had like a screen, you couldn't actually see what he was doing.
Right, but he wasn't explaining it well either. He would hold it up and say, fold it like this, and you're like, wait, what? Can you explain what you're doing? So
kind of a rare miss.
Yeah,
usually you do a good job.
The towel folding class on Dream last year was fantastic. We did like 5 or 6 different things, and he walked through every step of it, and it worked really well. But the napkin folding didn't go so well.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Not something we use in our everyday life too often.
I do.
Do you? You napkin folding?
Sometimes for my tea parties.
What are we doing here? This was another activity. Was this the napkin folding?
That is the napkin folding class.
Okay. Yeah,
We were also very far back, and we did not have a table. It's very difficult to fold a napkin when you do not have a table. We did have a table, but it was like this big for both of us.
Right.
So it was really hard to fold napkins on that.
And then we kind of went throughout the ship, again, kind of capturing. This is aft. And then now we're back forward for this. This was a show with a ventriloquist.
Right. So there are typically 3 shows on every ship. And because this was a 5-night cruise, they fill the other 2 nights. Well, actually, they only filled 1 night. They had a ventriloquist for 1 night, and the other night they just didn't.
I don't know, maybe movies.
It might have been a movie, but something we've already seen. So we didn't go to that. But we did go to see the ventriloquist, and then he had an adult show that we went to, and then he had kind of a class, if you will. And he called it Ventriloquism 101, where he kind of explained, especially to the little kids, like how he got started and how he actually does it. So
yeah, he was pretty good.
Yeah, we really enjoyed that. It was fun.
So this is Pirate Night. So this was
night 2.
Okay, night 2.
This was our second night, our sea day, and there's always, when you're in the Caribbean, there's always a pirate night. And so being ones who don't do costumes very much, yes, we do coordinated clothes, but we don't really do costumes very much. The last time we did Pirate Night, we were both so uncomfortable in our clothes. And I said, we're not doing this anymore.
Yeah, we did the whole pirate thing, yeah.
I changed out everything that we wore, and I said, we'll do Pirate Night, but we're not being uncomfortable anymore. We're on vacation. I want to be comfortable. So we changed. So you just had a button-down shirt with pirates on it, and I just did a puffy shirt.
So this is our new table number?
Our new table was 99, and a new service team, and they, again, did not understand exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And they bent over backwards to make us happy, and they were fantastic.
They were.
So much so that I would probably request them when we go back on our next.
So Enchanted Gardens where we picked up.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, we picked up Enchanted Garden. All right. Like moved rotations.
Right.
Ended up there.
Correct.
Here are the fireworks from our room.
Yeah, we watched them from our balcony.
Yeah. It's hard to see them a little bit because of that overhang.
Right. The pool deck is wider than the rooms below it, and so it did block a little bit of our view, but it was so crowded.
Yeah.
And up noisy. There. And I love fireworks. It's one of my favorite things to do is watch fireworks. And the novelty of having them at sea is even more fun, but I was okay watching them from our deck. Yeah. We could see well enough.
Yeah. So here we are on deck 11. This is late.
It's late, and it's the adult area. So there's no kids supposed to be in this area other than for the sake of passing through. They're not supposed to be lingering. But they close everything at night. So we just kind of sat there.
Yeah. The ice cream, I think, closes. Well, there's ice cream that you can get pretty much all the time, and it closes at 11.
At 11, yeah.
Like all day. It's I think it opens at like 10 or 11.
10, I think 10 in the morning till 11 at night. Yeah. And dinner, because we do second dining, it starts at 8:15. And a lot of times we don't get out of there until 10:15.
Right. So depending. We're like racing to get to the ice cream.
Yeah, so we always run back to the room, change our clothes, and then hurry up and go get ice cream before it closes. Even though we just had ice cream at dinner.
Yes, we did. we do. So next morning, Cozumel. Place we'd never been to before.
Right.
Never been to Mexico before.
Right.
This is an island. My impression of it is that a lot of the people who work in tourism take ferries over from the mainland Mexico to like work their job and then they go back. It didn't seem like a lot of people lived there. I mean, there were houses.
Right, there were houses, but not overly populated.
Yeah, very small, like a small town, and then a lot of vegetation.
Yeah.
And beaches.
Yeah.
It was,
she called it the jungle. Our cruise girl kept calling it, or not our cruise girl, our tour guide kept calling it the jungle. And I wouldn't really call it a jungle. It wasn't really woods.
No. It was thick vegetation.
Yeah.
that you would, expect in that area of the world.
Yeah.
So yeah, here's us hopping off the ship, taking a look at Dream on the walk to the town, to this like shopping area.
Right.
And then the town. Clear and very hot day. I don't know. There's different stories about what temperature it is. It felt like 100 degrees at the peak.
It was hot. It was very hot. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was
very hot.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I heard stories like it's in the 80s, whatever. It didn't feel like the 80s at all. So this was an adjustment. I mean, we'd never been to this port before.
Right.
And, coming off the ship, as you're walking through like a shopping area, a little bit beyond, there's like an initial area, and then you get beyond that, and there's like a shopping area. A lot of people kind of running up to you, trying to sell you stuff.
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, I understand it.
Right.
But it can be distracting, and it doesn't always.
Yeah, especially when you're in a new place and you're trying to take it all in. And,
you're trying to get oriented.
Buy my stuff. Buy my stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I get it, though.
Hold
I
on.
mean,
Let me get my bearings first.
Well, yeah, that's it. It's just orientation, right?
Yeah.
Like you're trying to get oriented and you're being bombarded. But we kind of knew what we wanted.
Right.
So we went to one of the booths for a tour. We wanted a tour.
Right.
And the woman who was our tour guide, she had this old, I think it was a company that I guess owns it, but this old Jeep, this old Jeep Wrangler, maroon, I think. What paint is left on it? But 168,000 miles on the clock.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure every warning light on the dashboard was lit up.
Yeah, and you drove.
Yes, she let me drive.
She said there's no door for the back seat, and so you have to climb in.
It's a two-door.
Right.
Yeah.
And she was about as big as a beanpole, so she said, "You drive, you sit up front, and I'll get in the back." So, and I'm glad she did, because there's no way I could have gotten in and out of the back of that. No. She struggled with it.
Yeah.
And I mean, she was like this tall. So there's no way I could have gotten in the back seat of that and been comfortable. And we got out several times. So I was glad that she offered that, because there's no way I could have done that.
Yeah, the only thing I really cared about was the air conditioner working, and it did. So I can't really complain about the Jeep. It was old, and it definitely had some steering issues.
Right.
But every light was on, check engine, I think. I can't remember the lights, but all of them, like, I remember thinking, like, there couldn't be another light that was on. It's like, we're not even going to worry about whatever's going on here. But it was fine. But drove around Cozumel and saw a bunch of different places.
Yep.
They had some interesting sites that we visited on the way. Much of the trip was vegetation and beaches, as I mentioned.
Yeah, once we got away from kind of the port area, that's all we saw. It was, beautiful beaches.
Yeah, very nice.
But then once we got even away from the beaches, there was nothing. Like, we just kept driving and there was nothing to look at.
Yeah, I think we went around pretty much like the entire island.
Yeah.
Wherever the roads go, like just
Right.
around. Like it was, we were out there for a while, and it was a good experience.
It was. I'm glad we did it. I probably won't do it again. We might get off the ship and
We're going
go,
back to Cozumel next year, early next year.
and we'll walk around that kind of port area, but I probably wouldn't do another tour.
I think we've seen, like, I think we got the most out of the tour.
Yeah,
and
I do
kind
too.
of saw everything that was available.
Yeah.
I think she was running out of ideas there toward the end.
Yeah. Well, and she offered us, they kept saying it was all included. She offered us kind of a beach day, if you will. We stopped at this place and she said she was going to have lunch and we could go sit on the beach for 2 hours. But it wasn't really a beach to sit on. There were a couple of chairs that were full. The other people were there. And it was maybe 2 feet of sand. And we weren't prepared for a beach day, neither one of us. So she was like, oh, we're going to hang out here for 2 hours. And we just said, no,
that's
we're
not
kind of
happening.
done with our tour. We're ready to go back.
Yeah.
So
she
got
won.
to cut her day short.
Yeah, she won.
She didn't get her lunch at that point, but I guess, it only took her another 10 minutes to get us back. So she could go to lunch and be done.
Yeah, I think, and it was a matter of like what the guy told us initially was different than...
Right, because we told him we only want a 2-hour tour and we had already been. It was about an hour and a half at that point, and she was telling us 2 hours. And we're, no, we don't really want to sit here for another 2 hours. Yeah. We're hot, we're tired, and we want to go back to our ship.
Yeah. So this was interesting. So as we're kind of going around Cozumel, there are these, I can't remember now, were they crocodiles or
crocodiles?
Alligators? They were crocodiles, right? We had to look it up.
Yeah.
They kept saying crocodiles, but I didn't know if... Actually, I think they said both things. I think that's what happened. And that's what, I was like... I was pretty sure it was one or the other, right?
Right.
So they're crocodiles. And in this picture, it's hard to see, but there's 2.
Yes.
There's 2 there. And you can pretty much walk right up to them. And
there was no... I could have taken 5 more steps and been eaten.
Yeah, just that easy. So one thing that really struck me as funny is like the difference between your experience on the ship and your experience in Mexico, right? So when the ventriloquist was doing his show in the Walt Disney Theater,
right?
He like many stage performers, like that type of stage performer, he calls up people from the audience, and then kind of like kids around them,
right?
And it might be adults, it might be kids. And when they would come up, when somebody would volunteer to come up, they have to use these stairs all the way to one end or the other because they have handrails. But the stage performers, like when they do the shows, they have these stairs that just go directly onto the stage. So like there's no handrail, but obviously it's cut into the stage, so you could just... If you fell, you'd still be all right. But okay, I get it. It doesn't have an OSHA compliant handrail or whatever. It doesn't have a handrail that, and they would have a employee, a cast member, actually like guarding those steps.
Right.
So like when the people came up, although one did get up, one kid did run up there anyway.
He was too excited.
He broke through.
Didn't have time to stop.
But yeah, and I remember thinking, wow, that's a incredible commitment to safety, almost an irrational commitment to safety. But okay, I get it. Like it only takes one person who's trying to step down,
right?
Because I think it would be a little more dangerous going down.
Yeah.
And they trip, and then that's it. It ruins it for everybody. So juxtapose that with the experience in Mexico, like so in the ship, don't walk up these stairs,
right?
Because there's no handrail. And in Mexico, they're like, hey. You want to pet the crocodile? So yeah, you're definitely not on the ship when you're in any sense. In any sense when you're in Cozumel, or probably any place really.
Right.
But yeah, that was interesting with the crocodiles.
Yeah.
That's probably the closest I've been to a crocodile in my life.
I think so.
Yeah. So yeah, again, beautiful beaches. I think if you liked water activities like snorkeling,
Right.
jet skiing, parasailing, whatever you do on the water. I can't swim, so.
Yeah.
But if you're really into that, I think it would be a great place to go repeatedly and try different things.
Yeah, absolutely. There were a lot of people that did snorkeling and different things that I would love to do, but I'm not confident enough. I can swim. I'm not afraid of the water, but I'm not confident enough to go in the ocean and do that. I'd rather do it in a pool.
Right.
I know I can see the bottom.
Yeah. So I don't think there's much more we can get out of
No,
going
probably
there.
not.
But it's a nice place, a beautiful place, and certainly recommend it for water sports.
Right.
And there's a ton to do in the water. We're just not water people.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I'm not.
I love the water.
So here we are back in Cabanas. More food.
Time for lunch.
Looking back out over Cozumel.
It's been 2 hours since we've had something to eat. Todd has to go eat.
Yeah, so in the comfort of the air conditioning, and of course, getting back a little earlier, I think we were back by maybe 1 or 2.
Yeah. Yeah, we were.
The ship was emptier.
Yeah.
So we got to see a lot and kind of in peace. Explore the ship a little bit, get some character pictures, some other pictures.
Right. We enjoy the ship when it's empty because it's quiet. You're not fighting for space. You're not fighting for attention. Not really attention, but it's just nice.
Yeah.
When it's empty.
Yeah. If it could be empty all the time, that would be ideal.
That would be tough.
Yeah, probably a little more expensive for the passage there. But so here we are in Royal Palace.
And they put us right in the middle. There's
There's a
almost
round
like a
table.
step up
Yeah.
and a platform in the center of the restaurant, and they put us up on that platform. So that was kind of nice to be able to see all the rest of the restaurant.
Yeah, there's a big round table in the middle.
Right.
And I think usually there's like multiple families there.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like 14 people sitting at that table. Although I feel like they were all together.
Were they all together?
I think they were like extended family. I think they knew each other.
That's another elegant restaurant.
It is. And we didn't take pictures of it that night, but that was the best dinner that we've had on Dream.
Mm.
I won't say it's the best I've ever had because I really like the filet on Wish.
Mm-hmm.
But on Dream, that dinner was fantastic.
Yeah. We had a good experience with dinners this time.
Yeah.
Even though I sent one back, I got something.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people in the group, the Facebook cruise group for our cruise specifically, who were not happy with the food this time. They said it wasn't the best food they've ever had on Dream.
I thought it was one of the better times.
Yeah. I thought it was really good.
A rocky start with, I think, the first steak that I received was like really hard to cut. And not well done, ask well done.
Right.
And it wasn't mooing, but it was not well done.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
And I got the chicken. Was it mesquite chicken?
I don't remember. Maybe.
I don't know.
That does
but
sound
anyway, that's so you asked for the chicken, and that's when the guy leaned over. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
So
yeah, that first night wasn't the best dinner.
No.
But then for a variety of reasons, but then it worked out. So then here we are the next morning.
Yes.
Right? So this is another sea day as we're traveling
Right.
to Castaway Cay. Breakfast from Cabanas.
Correct.
We brought back to the room.
Yeah, we always go to the buffet and get all our food that we want or think we want, and then take it back to our room and sit on the veranda and eat our breakfast in peace.
Now this is video you captured of Royal Palace when it was...
Right. This was during the afternoon when everybody was off doing other activities.
Yeah, so here, this was another activity. Was this trivia?
Yes, movie quote trivia.
Yeah, we did really well with the movie quote trivia, better than I thought we would.
We did do pretty good.
I was happy
that.
with that, yeah.
We still didn't win.
Didn't win, no.
I feel like unless you have a perfect score, you're not going to win.
I kind of think, because it's self-scored,
Yeah.
I kind of think that, I don't know about this time, but sometimes...
Well, they also have groups of 4, 5, 6 people. And when you have 6 people, it's easy to get all the answers. I kind of feel like it should be...
There should be limits.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's okay. I think we had 14 out of 20, which I was really thrilled.
Yeah.
We got that high.
Yeah.
But yeah, to win, you pretty much have to get everyone.
I even knew some of them, and I'm terrible at that.
I felt like it was also a range of movies that where my age was an advantage.
That's true.
Over some of the other people on the ship.
Right. Because we went to a second one.
Oh, it was all Disney.
Well, it wasn't listed as Disney movie quotes. It was just listed as movie quotes because we probably wouldn't have gone because
yeah, I don't know that.
I love my Disney movies, but I'm not up.
These were
date.
like mega fans.
Right. And the kids tease me all the time. You're such a Disney fan, but you don't even watch the movies. Well, no, because they're not little kids anymore. Don't have Disney movies on repeat. But we didn't realize it was Disney movies until it was over.
Right.
And we just kept looking at each other like, what? I don't know what this is. So.
There was like a guy in front of us who was talking to the, whatever it is, the person who does it. It runs the trivia thing. And he was like talking about details of the movies and like, oh, this one, this happened, and that one was a little different. I'm like you have way more spare time than I have to, like that's incredible to know that much about specifically Disney movies. I mean, and then he didn't even win. He wasn't even the winner.
He wasn't?
No.
I thought he was.
No, I don't think he was the winner.
Oh, wow.
I was stunned by that. It's like, wow, he kind of deserved to win.
Yeah.
So at some point we got ice cream again. And here we are with the ventriloquist.
Yeah.
This was, I think, the last time we saw him.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. After he wrapped up his ventriloquism 101, he offered to stick around and let people take pictures. So he was from New Jersey.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so I let him know that you make videos and talk about New Jersey. And so he was very familiar with Delaware and knew exactly what we were talking about.
Mm-hmm. So here we are. I think this was like a big show in the Walt Disney Theater. Was this Beauty and the Beast?
Yes.
Okay.
I was kind of zoned on that. Yes, that was Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, great show.
Even though we've seen it
2 other times.
Yeah, we still always go because because it's a live performance, it's always a little bit different. And it's just good.
It's fantastic.
It's just a fun
really
thing to do.
I mean, even if you don't like the particular story, I mean, we've never been disappointed by any of those shows.
Right.
I think one time we saw Frozen or something.
Yeah.
I could really care less, I guess, but it was still so well done.
Yeah, it was.
So here we are. This was, I guess, later.
Yeah. The nighttime backdrop pictures.
Oh, right. These are the backdrops. You go around to each one on deck 3. Right?
Yeah. In the atrium, every night they do different backgrounds. So when you buy the photo package, or if you don't, you can go have your pictures taken. And that's part of the reason I coordinate our clothes, because I always buy the photo package, and I like to coordinate. I'm a photographer, and I like my pictures to look professional. Mm-hmm.
So here we are at Animator's Palette, and I'm trying to remember. Well, I always get steak, pretty much, right? Most of the time, yeah. What did you get this
I got
night?
chicken.
You got chicken, okay.
Did you get the dinner from Royal Palace that night?
I think that was Royal Palace, yeah. So when you're at one restaurant, you can order from another.
Right.
And I've done that many times.
Right.
And I think...
I wish I had done that.
Yeah.
The Chateaubriand was fantastic. And I wish I had gone ahead and ordered it. But I went with the chicken.
Yeah, sometimes though, like on Pirate Night, all the restaurants are the same. So you can't order.
Yeah, the only option is the pirate menu or the lighter menu, which is chicken and rice or chicken and baked potato.
So here we are later. What is that creature there?
It's a frog.
It's a frog, okay.
And all that time I thought it was the woman making this stuff. And then we learned that it was not. It was a guy.
So we went out late.
Again.
Yeah.
We're late night people.
Back to 11.
We don't do mornings.
Nope, don't do mornings, but we'll stay out late and see all kinds of stuff. The ship is much quieter and more peaceful.
We actually, at about this point, I heard Christmas music. And this was the last cruise before the Christmas cruises start. And I did that on purpose because I didn't want to be on a Christmas cruise. We've done a Christmas cruise and I will do another one, but I didn't feel like doing that this year. And so I deliberately booked the one that was between Halloween and Christmas. But we got to this point and I heard Christmas music. And we walked around the corner and they were rehearsing the Christmas show. So all the characters were on the pool stage in their Christmas attire, singing Christmas music. And it was the coolest thing to watch because there was no crowd, there was nobody around. And I don't think we were supposed to see it, but we got to watch it.
You're allowed to watch it. They don't let you record it, because I guess it's top secret. And
it was just a practice, so not an official performance. So
so you can't get video of it, but it was just characters dancing around.
And, it was fun.
Yeah, it wasn't really anything special, but it was just neat to see them.
It was special. It was fun.
Oh, was it? Okay. Yeah, here's Castaway Cay from starboard side, from our room. And that area there is kind of blocked in. That's where we would take a paddle boat.
Right.
A few minutes later.
Right.
After we hopped off the ship. So here are the guys working on the ship. As we're walking away, we saw them.
Cleaning.
Yeah.
Always cleaning and painting and maintaining.
I don't know if this is true or not, but I was reading after we returned home, or maybe when we're still on the ship, there's 140 people that live on that island. Employees.
Yeah, that's about right.
Mm-hmm. I feel like that's a lot. Just, if the ship's not there, it seems like a lot, but I guess there's always something to do.
Well, the ships are there frequently. They do go frequently. I can't say that there's one there every single day, but I imagine it's close.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It just seems 140. I mean, it just seems like when you do have a day off with no ship, is there a lot to do? I don't know.
Huh.
There's probably a lot of behind the scenes. There's maintenance.
Yeah.
The facilities.
Yeah, definitely.
And I don't know if they do other types of work. So this was an interesting experience. The paddle boat.
Yeah.
Right. So one thing I noticed right away was there's different kinds of vehicles. Human-powered vehicles.
Right.
The paddle boat was a popular choice.
Yeah.
But there was also a big tricycle type thing with huge plastic.
Yeah, I don't know what those are called, but they look like fun.
Mm-hmm.
But then when we were up close.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't do it. And then they had a tandem bicycle that was attached. It was with paddles on two, almost like little canoe pontoons, I don't call them.
Yeah.
That looked a little more efficient.
Yeah.
You could move it. And then they had boards that people would just, like a paddle board, I would call it.
Yeah.
You would just have a paddle, it's like a surfboard looking thing.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing, so there's jet skis, but that's for the the lifeguards.
Right.
And one thing we noticed right away was that like people were going out right to the barrier,
Right.
and they weren't coming back. They're just stuck there.
Right.
And the lifeguards would go out on the jet skis and like hook a rope and pull them back. So early on, I decided that wasn't going to be us.
Right.
And they tell you, like, wave your hands.
Yeah.
We'll come out. And they checked on us one time, which was nice. But the wind was blowing out that way.
It was very windy, and it was blowing us that way, in that direction. So it was easy to get out there. It was not so easy to get back.
But yeah, so it was the trip out was not that hard. And then we started paddling back, and it was like
We weren't moving.
we weren't getting any closer. And then that's when we were halfway. We eventually made it like halfway back.
And they asked us. Somebody asked on their way out to get somebody else, "Are you guys okay?" We said, we're good. We're good.
Yeah, I was pretty sore by this point, but I wasn't. I was sore because I'm not used to pedaling.
Right.
But I still had a lot of stamina left because I'm used to walking.
Right.
So
Exactly.
I was fortunate, and I still had a lot of gas in the tank. But yeah, I was not being towed back in. Just it wasn't going to happen. So we made it. It took us forever to get back there.
It was supposed to be a half an hour experience, and it took us 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but a lot of that was because we just weren't moving. We had turned around in time, but we're pedaling and pedaling, and we're like, we're not going anywhere.
Yeah, it was very disconcerting. There was a point where I was thinking, oh no,
Yeah.
we're going to have to be towed back in.
But then all of a sudden, we just kind of went. That was weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess maybe, I don't know what happened, but we did all right. But yeah, I think my knee hurt for like a week
Yeah.
after that. And then, it's fine, but it's just I wasn't used to that angle. And it was a lot of work fighting that wind. It was substantial. They need a little motor in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just my recommendation. So yeah, then we got another character picture, and then we're back to this
Lunch.
11. Yeah, lunch.
More lunch. So I was more excited about going on Dream after dry dock because they added a taco restaurant. Wish and the newer ships have tacos and barbecue in addition to the burgers and the chicken and the pizza and all that kind of stuff on the pool deck. And there's always a line for the taco place on Wish. And so I was really excited that Dream was now going to have tacos. And I kept forgetting. I kept forgetting about it because we would go to the restaurant for lunch. And I would get lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And then be full. And you would go for your second lunch. And I'm like, oh, I forgot about the tacos. And I can't eat anymore. I'm stuffed. So finally, that day, I still wasn't hungry. But I said, I'm just going to get a small taco bowl because I want to try it. So I told the girl, I said, I just want 3 little tiny pieces of chicken. I just want little spoons. So I only had a small, rather than this big bowl. I just had a small taco bowl, but it was really good. It was really good. I'm glad that I did it. Finally.
Yeah, and that was, as you mentioned, that was a new restaurant.
Yeah, it's a new restaurant on the pool deck. They didn't add the barbecue that the other ships have, which is pretty good too. I've had that on Wish.
Wish, yeah.
Barbecue and the cornbread and macaroni and cheese, all of it. It's really good. But I was very excited about the taco edition because I love tacos.
Mm.
It was good.
Yeah, so we pulled out from Castaway Cay,
Sail away.
headed back to
Now it's sad because
the sad time. So there's two different kinds of cruises, right? There's ones where the day before you come back is a day at sea.
Right.
And I feel like they just sit off the coast of Florida, you know?
Yeah. Turn around in circles.
Yeah, it feels that way. And then there's times when you come directly back from Castaway Cay.
Right.
Or maybe some other places too, but definitely, as we saw, this time came straight back.
Right.
And I think I like the ones better where you come straight back off a day where you're worn out.
Yeah. That's the Chateaubriand.
This was back in Enchanted Garden for our
Yes.
last meal, yeah. Okay. That was really good too.
That was fantastic.
And I think the sundae was from that was from a different restaurant, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to be a strawberry shortcake sundae, and you always ask for it to be strawberry sundae without the shortcake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then so a final picture with
our server and our assistant server.
Yeah.
They both were
very
fantastic.
Good. Yeah.
They really were.
No complaints at all.
I would request them again. They were fabulous.
And then it was a penguin for the towel animal to wrap up. Yeah, then nighttime. So I was on the veranda for a long time as we pulled away from Castaway Cay.
Right.
And you can see Castaway Cay like a long time after the ship leaves. Yeah. So then we're back at Fort Lauderdale.
Mm-hmm.
And uneventful transition, back into Florida, and then we took a taxi to the airport. Came back, no problems.
Right.
All went pretty smoothly.
Yeah, the trip home was pretty standard.
Mm-hmm.
We've had not so standard trips home.
Yep, it was all right. So overall, I think one of our better cruises.
Yeah, that's only the second 5-night cruise we've done.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think we'll go back to anything shorter unless we do a 3-night and a 4-night back-to-back.
Right, yeah.
It's just, it gives you that extra day. Now, when we go on a week-long cruise, we may not go back to 5 nights. But for now, 5 nights has been the longest we've done and our favorite.
Yeah.
It's only the second time. Like I said, the first 5-night we did was last year on Fantasy. And that was, for me, that was our favorite cruise. That was the best one we've done. But this one was pretty good. I was really looking forward to this one for various reasons, but I'm ready to go again.
Yeah, this was good. I think the 3-night and the 4-night are really excellent if you live in Florida.
Yeah, and don't have to do all the traveling to get there.
But when you're leaving a day early, and it takes you the entire day to get back.
Right.
For 3 days, it's definitely not worth it.
Right.
For 4, maybe if you were going with friends that could only do that certain cruise, we would do it. But like alone.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
It's not the 5 nights. It just gives you more time to settle in and really relax.
Mm.
A 3-night, you don't have time because
it's go. Yeah.
You don't really start to be able to relax and settle in until about 6 o'clock on the first day. And then 2 days later, you're off the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Where with the 5-night, it just gives you extra time. And it's just much better.
Yeah.
I could have done 2 more nights. I wasn't sure how I would feel about a 7-night. We have one booked, but I wasn't sure how I would feel about it, if I would feel it was too long. And the gentleman that we sat next to on the plane, I asked him the same thing because their cruise was a week long. And I asked him, does that feel too long to you? And he said, no, actually it feels too short. And I'm a little afraid that that's where we're going to end up. But at the end of this 5-night cruise, I tried to think about how I felt and if I would feel like 2 more days would be too long, and I don't feel that way at all. I could have easily stayed on that ship for another 2 days.
Yeah, I think the 7 we have coming up next year is the same 2. We have the same 2 stops, Cozumel and Castaway Cay. And then additionally, is it Grand Cayman?
Grand Cayman and Jamaica.
So it'll be go, go, go.
It will be. It will be. But it'll be good. We have friends coming along on that one, so that'll be fun. I'm really looking forward to that, and it'll be a new ship.
Right.
New ship
for us. Well, new for everybody, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah. So a good cruise. Would recommend it. I think the whole incident with the noisy guy, that was just
that wasn't Dizzy's fault. That was just his personal choices. It's his vacation. He chose to drink it away.
Well, at least for that first night, at least what we saw. But yeah, I think that was just kind of a random thing. I'm not worried about it. And eventually Disney kind of, the cruise people understood what we needed. And,
right.
I don't know if they ever understood, but they did what we wanted.
Right.
I guess that's my point is trying to explain the rationale may not actually be fruitful.
Right.
It may just be more helpful if you want something to say, this is what I want.
Yeah.
My reasons are my reasons, and you may or may not even understand them.
Right.
Or care. But, this is, the customer's always right. This is what I want.
Right.
I feel like we're so used to having to explain rationale.
Yeah.
That it's foreign to just like, no, I'm just saying I need this.
Right.
And so it feels pushy.
It does feel pushy because, again, I really wasn't trying to get anyone in trouble because it wasn't our service people, and I wanted them to understand that. What I didn't understand was that it didn't matter. It didn't matter what my issue was. Like you said, I should have just said,
we're going to another rotation.
I need another rotation.
Yeah.
But now I know.
Right.
Now I know. So I won't.
Yeah. You can save the backstory.
Right.
Yeah. It's a time convenience too. It's like, don't waste time. Just
Yeah, because I talked to, I think, 5 different people about that issue. And it wasn't until the guy was showing me the tables and me saying, no, this doesn't work, that I got it changed.
So as always with these cruise videos, you'll be monitoring the comments, responding to comments. If you have any questions about what we did or cruising or anything, you'll take a look and try to answer what you can. We'll make another one of these videos early next year when we go on our next cruise.
Yep.
And we'll keep this log of our experiences and put this all together. We hope you enjoyed this video.
Yep.
And thank you so much for watching. We'll talk to you soon.